Vernon Neilly, and you're listening to Rock at Night.
Are you ready? Hey, tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights live again. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. Not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down, if you feel up good. Now, get on down.
Welcome to Rock at Night, Vernon.
Well, thank you very much.
We're here. We're going to talk all about your new album and your history and all that jazz. Your new album is called Out of Time. And
Yes, it is.
And when was it released?
It was just released the first part of June.
Okay, and I listened to a few of the cuts. The genre sounds kind of like a mix of rap, maybe hip-hop, jazz, blues. How would you describe your music?
Well, I really don't, because when I'm putting music together, it's just what I feel at a particular time, and because I like all forms of music, I really don't like classifications, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that classifications are very, very inhibiting to creativity. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons the industry at large has classifications is because they have to wrap things and package them in certain categories in order to be able to have a category for them. So it's something that I've never ever believed in as a musician or an artist of saying, well, my music is this or my music is that, because as you can hear, it's an amalgamation of many forms and styles of music.
Mm-hmm. There's even a lot of Latin influence there as well.
Exactly. Because I've always liked Latin music. When I was younger, I spent some time in the Northeast, in New York and Connecticut, Massachusetts, but in particular New York. And I remember walking down the streets in New York and hearing all of these just fabulous Latin rhythms. Mm-hmm. And I just grew to really, really love them. And then also, being from the Bahamas, and it's very, very close to, of course, the Florida Peninsula, Miami. Mm-hmm. And so, again, having all those Latin rhythms, Cuban rhythms, salsas, and the various forms of Latin music. So I've always liked that very, very much, and it's become a part of who I am. And one of my biggest influences on the guitar has been Carlos Santana. So there you go.
There you go. You also do vocals on the album. Do you consider yourself to be more of a vocalist, a guitarist? Let's talk about that.
Well, not in particular. I mean, I have the ability to sing, so if I have something to say vocally, like I've done on this particular project, then I do. But I've released other projects that are solely instrumental. So once again, it's just how I'm feeling creatively at that particular point in time when I'm putting a project together.
Mm-hmm. You did one cut, Fire. Of course, that's the old Jimi Hendrix
right.
tune, and you kind of put your own original spin to it.
Yes.
Do you like to do that a lot? Kind of, take a classic and make it your own?
Exactly. Well, I mean, in putting Fire together, once again, as a guitarist and an artist, Jimi Hendrix is one of my biggest influences, and so I thought about this for quite some time. I mean, years of time, and if I did a Hendrix song, what song I would want to do. So, as I've heard a lot of other people through the years cover a lot of his other songs, like All Along the Watchtower and other songs, Crosstown Traffic and Voodoo Child and these other songs by Jimmy. I wanted to do a song that I liked, but also that hadn't been re-copied.
True.
And so I'd always liked the song Fire, but like you said, I wanted to do it keeping the basis of the song, but still at the same time making the song my own. And so when I was putting the track together, Fire, a good buddy of mine and also phenomenal guitarist who has played with many, many top artists and in his own right has released over 10 successful albums himself, Greg Howe. And so I told him of my idea and what I wanted to do, and so he understood, and so we just started to work on it, and so it came out the way that I thought it would, or that I wanted it to.
Yeah, it's kind of has the sound of like what a jam band would do. Actually, some of the music does sound like, to me, jam band. I presume you like, well, it looks like you like to collaborate with a lot of different people.
I do, yes, because I truly believe that collaboration is a wonderful way to be able to get great ideas and to develop the best of the ideas that, two or three individuals may have, and so you get a very, very good end product by collaboration, and I respect highly other people's talent, and in this particular case, like I said, Greg Howe is a phenomenal guitarist who has worked with Michael Jackson and Justin Timberlake and Rihanna and Enrique Iglesias and many other top artists, and so to be able to have the objective view of somebody like that included in your creative process is a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Do you have a dream person? If you could collaborate with anybody in the business, who would that be?
Wow, that's I'd have to give that one some thought, because there's so many talented people.
True.
Well, a person that I haven't collaborated with, I've worked with before, but haven't collaborated with, is Stevie Wonder. I really respect his writing ability, not only musically but lyrically, and so that would be a nice person to collaborate with, I think.
Now, you did a cover album of Stevie Wonder, correct?
Correct.
So he really has been a big influence in your musical journey.
Oh, tremendously, because like Jimi Hendrix, like Carlos Santana, these artists are not only artists who have come into music, Jerry Garcia, these individuals that not only came into music, but they Beatles, and so when I look to Stevie Wonder and look at his body of work, how it's continued to evolve over time, and that's one of the most impressive things to me, just how his body of work evolved over time, and so yes, I respect him much as an artist. In that particular project, a tribute to Stevie Wonder. Once again, I brought together some incredible talent, and we just went about doing Stevie Wonder in a way that he hadn't been done before, and that was the objective of that project.
Mm-hmm. Now, your album At a Time is on your own label, is that correct?
All of my albums are.
Okay, let's talk about your label.
Okay.
I understand the label was started a number of years ago, and reading your bio, it says that you were a disc jockey in South Florida when you were quite young. So you've been immersed in music for a long time.
Yes. Well, what I'd like to say, Sharice, is that music has been a part of my life, all of my life, because I come from a musical family. My mother is a classically trained pianist and violinist. Her sister also classically trained pianist. I had an uncle who was a not only classically trained upright bassist, but also he was very, very involved in jazz music and has many jazz projects out, and so I grew up in this musical environment, and so from the very, very beginning is that I can remember, music has always been a part of my life.
Now, since you have a label and you've been in the industry a number of years, how has the industry changed over time? What are the pros and the cons?
Well, this is a conversation that we, for this interview, really don't have sufficient time to talk about.
Yeah, I know.
It's complex, and but there are some basic things that I can talk about. For example, when I was a young musician and I was working as a sideman for many legendary artists, the industry it just had a different way that it operated. For example, if you were talented enough, you could get picked up by a record label. The record label would not only spend time, but money to develop you as an artist. One of the things that has changed in that respect is that artists are expected to be ready and packaged already, and already with a certain amount of success under your belt before record labels even take a look at you. So in that aspect, the business has changed. The way that music is marketed and promoted these days is where a lot of acts these days are able to make money by going out and touring, and then the merchandise that they have, they're able to sell and make a living. So if you're just recording these days and you're putting music out, it's very, very difficult. And this is not only for independent artists these days, but it's for well-established artists, such as major groups like Metallica, who have complained about it, Prince before he died. And so the music industry has shifted tremendously in that aspect as well.
Well, you were one of the first labels, correct, that started the whole digital download deal that we all do today. I mean, we all use iTunes today, but in the old days, we would just buy a CD.
Exactly. So years ago, when I was involved with another label that I was a part of, that I was co-owner of, called Boosweet Records, the internet in itself was just beginning to evolve, and it was nothing like what it is today. People, even at that time, were just beginning to get email. But my partner and I, we saw that digital downloading or music files, selling of music files, would be something that would be part of the future, and a part of the evolution of music. Just how things went from vinyl or acetate to cassettes and 8-tracks, and from that it went to compact disc, and so musical or digital files were just the next step in the evolution of being able to have access of music and broader access of music, and this is proven to be true. So before iTunes was even a concept, there used to be a company called mp3.com, which has subsequently folded, but during that time, or that evolution of MP3 as a way to be able to download, access music, yes, my company was involved from the very, very beginning of that.
I agree with you about everything that you're saying about the industry too. It seems nowadays people have to do it it's DIY, do it yourself, until they could get known. And I, like you said, I think touring and selling of merchandise, and now all of a sudden bands are doing this meet and greet business, which,
Exactly.
I mean, you would never see that before. In the old days, it was general admission, and you just get in line early and you show up and everybody is even. But now it seems like it's almost like a class system, VIP versus general admission. Any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, because I understand the reason why that has taken place, and it's not so much because of class. It's simply out of the need by the artist, remembering what we briefly talked about, Sharice, that revenue for the average musician, notwithstanding stature, has decreased significantly. Why? Well, because the model before was, okay, an artist puts out an album, it gets promoted, you could go in the record store, people would buy that, and so on a global scale, that would be a merchandising has always been a part, but not as significant as it is now. And so the whole meet and greet thing is just an extension of the merchandising, with the artist merchandising himself, and as a form of being able to create another stream of revenue for themselves. And so that's really what that particular thing is all about.
Now, do you tour or do live performances?
Yeah.
On a regular basis?
I tour. I tour at least once every year.
Do you have one planned, or are you on tour right now?
We're setting up the next tour right now, as a matter of fact, to cover certain dates here in the United States, in South America, and in Europe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I guess I saw that you have an album that said live in Brazil or something, so you must like Brazil.
Well, Brazil's a phenomenal musical country, but I have a live DVD that was filmed in Brazil, and the title of it's called Live in Brazil. I've been going to Brazil for years now, and so I built quite a following or name in Brazil and Argentina as well, where I also go and do shows and tours. So once again, I mean, as you know, Sharice, for musicians, this is pretty much the way it's always been. If you have success in certain parts of the world or certain markets, that's where you go and perform. So it's pretty much the same thing.
South American audiences, from my experience, they're very appreciative when people tour from, let's say, Europe or the United States. I used to live in Venezuela.
Yes.
That's another good reason to go down there. Like you said, if you have a following, it's so funny that through social media, a lot of artists have a following overseas without even having been there.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing when you get outside of the borders of your own country, the appreciation for your art that people in other countries have. And, you know, thank goodness for that, because that's what gives us the opportunity to go and present our music to the people who appreciate our music. I believe that here in the United States, it's not that here in our own country people don't appreciate the art. I think here we just have so much art, and so sometimes I believe that on a certain level, the artistry here is taken for granted because there's just so much of it. And whereas in other countries, you don't have that same level or the same quantity of artists who are creating good art. And so they tend to really, really embrace it. South America, Europe, Japan, too. I mean, the Japanese are really, really appreciative of American art and art forms.
I almost think it's a cultural thing. In my opinion, in other countries, they just seem to really appreciate music, history, movies, etc. I don't know. In the United States, everybody is overwhelmed, possibly with, like you said, too much quantity, and just the attitude towards culture seems kind of superficial.
Well, let me give you an example, Sharice. You know, let's use candy bars for an example. Here in the United States, you can go into a supermarket or a drugstore, convenience all this selection. Which one do I select? And so here in this country, as I said, this is so normal for us. It becomes a thing where people take it for granted.
Yes.
And so musically, it's the same thing here. And so Americans really, really take the fact that we are the innovators of these wonderful musical genres that have been spread throughout all the world. And so when we go to foreign countries and we present our music, they appreciate not only the music that we create, but you are a part of that legacy that has created this music, that bringing this music to them. So they have a great respect for it. And like you said, culturally, I'll give you an example. We were talking about Brazil, and one of the reasons why I like Brazil so much is because they are truly a musical country and a very, very expressive musically country. So you see there people just walking down the streets, whether it's with a ukulele or an acoustic guitar or, their electric guitars strapped on their back and a gig bag or bass. It's culture, and so it's much more appreciated, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the young people here would rather be playing video games or something, and they're probably sitting around at the beach playing a ukulele, a quattro, we would call them, and singing. I mean, it seems everybody sings there at parties, and you go out to bars, people are all singing along. We don't see that as much here.
Exactly, Sharice. That's exactly what it is. Culturally, people are engaged. They're not. Well, let's look at the socioeconomic consideration, because this has a lot to do with it too. Mm-hmm. And remember, we talked about the enormous amount of what we have here. And so when you go to countries like Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, they don't have this. And so their life is much more simple.
Yeah.
They look to more simple things. And to be honest with you, they're more happy.
I agree.
Those simple things.
I agree. Yeah, there's more camaraderie, friendship, unity, and do-it-yourself fun. They sing, they dance. Everybody, when music starts, they start banging on pots and pans just to make percussion. It's do-it-yourself, but they do seem more joyful.
Well, it's because they are.
Yeah.
This is, like you said, this is a part of their culture. They're much more social people, to say the least. And so, like you said, if somebody starts singing, or somebody has a pair of bongos or conga drums, and somebody has a guitar, they're just in the moment. I mean, they're very expressive in that way, and for me, it's a wonderful thing to see, because it's not about commercialism or anything else. It's just about that feeling that they're feeling at that time, and everybody is taking a part, and they are truly having a connected experience by means of it.
And dancing is a real part of their culture. I mean, you cannot have a party without dancing, and a lot of your music is dance music.
Yes.
And I could see your album being played at a party.
Well, I appreciate that. For me, the music is something that should touch the heart in whatever aspect you try to go about creatively doing it. But it should touch the heart. So whether it's touching the heart in a cerebral way, functional way, which gets you to get up and move and bounce around or whatever it is that the people are going to do. Music should touch people. And that's always been my experience, whether I'm listening to a beautiful classical piano concerto like Chopin. I'm touched by the music, or a song by Santana, a classical Santana song like Samba Parti or Europa. Those songs touch me, and so that's the same thing that I want my music to do for others.
I think that makes a great summary for this interview, and I thank you for joining us at Rock at Night.
It's a privilege. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about my art, to talk about the new project, Out of Time, because it really is not a musical thing, although I believe that the artistic talent on the project is phenomenal, but at the same time it has a message. It has a definite message in songs like Out of Time and Get Your Life Right, and it's just more than musical.
Okay, I'm going to ask you now to do a promo.
Okay, no problem.
Especially, you're good at this since you used to do radio. and I guess you do acting too, which is pretty fascinating. So you're really a well-rounded artist.
Well, I've just been fortunate. I've been truly blessed to have had the opportunities that I have. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're listening to Rock at Night.
Thanks for the intro melody. It's called Get On Down by Billy Bass Alford. Thanks.